a group of people together to work together and come up with a mortality rate. So after hurricane or the death, an estimated death toll is what it is, using mortality rates. And so basically what happened during Hurricane Maria, I don't know if you heard, but the number of deaths, everyone on the island basically knew that there was no way, given the impact, that those numbers were possible. And so the data was not made public. And so what data science was able to do was basically scientists started realizing, hey, what can we do now to try and fix this? And this is where we talk about the need for collaboration. It was actually a psychologist, a woman, Carolyn Buckley, who started like worrying about what was happening in Puerto Rico because the death toll wasn't great. She's a social psychologist at in Harvard. And she basically started contacting and realizing something was off. So she went to then Rafael Irizarry at Harvard, who is a biostatistician, and said, hey, we need to do something about this. And so they got together a big team that required, first of all, some design thinking to figure out how in the world are we going to get this data, because nobody is giving it to us. And then they basically did a survey throughout Puerto Rico to try and, like, through these health surveys. So they had to basically collaborate with psychologists that were on the field trying to figure out the health of everyone. What is estimate the death toll, and they had to do statistics to calculate that, and they had to look at the rate of change to figure that out, and they had to compare it to previous years to basically prove that the estimated death toll based on these surveys was way higher than what was being reported, like 1,000 times higher, like 3,000. Actually, the number was 4,645. And I remember that number because after Hurricane Maria, maybe a lot of you don't realize this, but there were huge protests about against the governor as a result of this the inaccuracy with the numbers, and it forced the governor to release the data, and then it also forced the idea of okay, now they have to do a survey. So they had to actually give the data, but they only gave it to a certain team. So they still went ahead and did the calculation, and then once the data was made public, they could come up with a better number. But that number of 4,000, it was really like 3,000, which was actually what the both teams came up with eventually, but that they came closer than what the government was saying, which they were saying 55 at that time. I mean, that just huge. And so I think it's data science for good in that sense. At the end, that number sparked, so many people, angered so many people, that when a chat came out about the governor, where it showed that he knew, and he was kind of like mocking mortality, the cadavers, on the stacking up in the morgue, and he was overthrown. Not overthrown, he was forced to resign. It's not overthrown. He was forced to resign because people were so upset. And it was like 2 weeks of protests. So it just shows you the importance of having open data. And then the power of data science and the power of collaboration to be able to do that. So that was people off the island that were collaborating with people on the island, completely, different disciplines coming together to do that publication. And they also had it peer reviewed so that it would have validity. And so then it just shows you a lot of the importance of the entire process and every step of data science there. And then it's data science for good, because at the end it's making data more accessible, and it's forcing governments to do that, to share the data. And so I think that's a great step.
Wow. What really resonates with me with that is, and I'm sure others, is just like how essential access is in bridging data science with society, especially at times of catastrophes. So thank you for sharing more about that experience. And now I'd like to pass it off to my co-moderator, Faru, who will ask the panelists questions regarding career development.
Yeah. Thank you, Haley. Based on the information that's been shared by all the panelists, it's fascinating how you can have various career paths and then also end up in doing different things related to data science. A question that comes to mind is, if you could provide from your perspective some existing job opportunities, as well as your perspectives for the future of data science jobs, and highlight trends in data science that students should be aware of, including some top key emerging research areas. Sandra, if you could start, and then Martin, please provide some comments as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faru. But definitely, I would like to share how my journey has been in finding internships and my full-time job as a data scientist. So traditionally, you know that we go on a website, search for a job, and then send them a resume, and then wait eagerly for them to contact us. But in my route, I have taken some unconventional routes. And first, let me start off with how I got my internships. So during the course of my master's, I did my internships with Adobe and Ernst & Young. So let me give you a story on how I actually landed in those internships. Coming from a mechanical engineering background, I did not have anything related to data science on my resume. So before I graduate, my motive was to get some experience of data science on my resume so that I can be prepared when the employers come for campus placement and stuff like that. So one unconventional thing which I did is I chose my electives very carefully. And I chose electives where they provided a capstone project with an organization or a firm. Now, these capstone projects are not paid, they are unpaid. But what they give you is the knowledge as well as some experience that you can portray on your resume. So we ended up doing a project for Adobe, and we were a team of 5. And we were given a business problem to solve for them, and we presented our results to them. They were quite impressed and did offer all the 5 members a summer internship at their office. So literally, like, no resume was involved, no waiting was involved. It was just proving yourself directly to the employers who just were expecting a project from you, but then you showed them your value, and they in turn returned their favor by providing you an internship. So these are some things to look for. Your capstone projects are very important, and this especially an advice for people who are pursuing their degrees right now, who are in their undergraduates or a graduate degree. Try to get some, if you're looking for a data science practical experience, then this is one way of getting it. And other interesting story I would like to share is how I ended up getting my full-time job. And this was actually an unconventional route as well. So whenever we choose our first boyfriend or girlfriend, we try to, date them by their looks and whether they're handsome or not, so and so. That is what that was the first thing I used to see. But how do employers judge employees, right? How do they know about you? How do they know about the skills that you possess? It's your LinkedIn profile that makes a difference. Your LinkedIn profile states everything. So make sure you update your LinkedIn profile before even trying to apply for jobs. And sharing my own story. So I updated my LinkedIn profile. I was about to graduate and everything. And then I started following some pages at some organizations and some people whom I really saw that my thoughts aligned with, and some data science pioneers, etc. And then there was this one post from a manager from IBM, who is my current manager. And then she posted a role stating the responsibilities of the role and what skill set she's looking for, etc., etc. Then I looked at the description of the role in that LinkedIn post, and I really saw myself being aligned with that. I saw the skill set that basically, I just saw myself a great fit for that role. But how do I convey this to her? I mean, should I just send her a message? Should I just send her my resume? Will I sound desperate? All these thoughts were going on. But I just sent her a message saying that I came across this post and I really feel that, I might be a good fit. When you have some time, please take a look at my profile and let me know if you find me good fit or not. And I did not get a reply until 15 days. I was patient enough, didn't keep bombarding her with emails or anything. But after 15 days, I received an email saying that, okay, Sanjana, I went through your profile. It looks good. Why don't you go ahead and send me your resume? And that's how things started. And right now I'm at IBM. So this did not involve a recruiter. It directly involved a manager and an employee directly connecting on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a powerful platform which can connect you with leaders out there who are looking for employees that fit the job roles that they are looking for. So make use of LinkedIn as much as you can. And another important subject which I would like to bring up is, since the time I've joined IBM, which has been 1 year, I've been working on developing curriculum in the field of data science and AI. And the research area that is happening right now in the of AI is the trustworthy AI. So as you all know, AI plays a very important role in solving problems, which was stated clearly by Jason and Patricia. But you have to know that it is important to use to construct and to use AI responsibly. So there are pillars of trust that you need to concentrate on while building AI technology or using AI technology. So that is like an happening area right now. So if you want to know more about this area, do check out the trustworthy AI research from IBM on the website. And apart from that, one other thing I want to say is, often we try to be desperate in finding a job. And that is common. That is human tendency. I have been desperate in finding a job. But in that process, don't try and apply to thousands of jobs out there, just trying your luck. See if that any one will click. If I just apply to 1,000, hoping that one will click. Choose your job. Don't let the job choose you. Try to build your skills and roles according to the job that you want, and try to chase it rather than, just trying your luck. So with that, I just want to close.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanja. It's clear that it takes some creativity in identifying opportunities, but also it takes planning on understanding what it is that interests someone, and using your network as you did, your people network, as well as using LinkedIn. And also gaining knowledge and experience, identifying ways that you can gain knowledge and experience to be marketable. Martin, could you please provide your perspectives? If you could focus in on...
So PhD student asks repetitively throughout his PhD whether this is worth it. Exactly. So I would say, I definitely don't, and I don't think somebody has like a really definite answer to that question. But I would say it's more of like a subjective or individual question rather than maybe like a question that can be like objectively answered. So I would say the answer of that question is really individual. I think each of us, if somebody is trying to make this decision in their lives, I would say that they should maybe first just see whether they will enjoy what they will be doing throughout their PhD. So I know it sounds kind of obvious, but I think that would be that's kind of like, that was my only guide when I was deciding whether to go for a master's degree or kind of maybe spend, because in my case I had the decision of going for a master's degree or because but at the same time I couldn't like make the decision between a master's and a PhD because I didn't have I wasn't prepared for a PhD. Maybe I had a good GPA for my undergraduate studies, but it was not enough to enroll in a PhD program. I also needed to gain some research skills, and at the same time to maybe have some publications so that I have higher chances to be admitted at the PhD program. So I decided to kind of sacrifice 1 or 2 years instead of doing a master's degree to kind of like do only research. And this was worth it for enrolling in the PhD program. But then, of course, once I was enrolled, then a whole different journey started. So I would say, like, I would ask myself like the question whether, in case I enroll in a PhD program, whether I would think of it as something that oh, this will last for like maybe 5 or 6 years. I can't wait for this to be over so that I get the benefits of obtaining my PhD. So in that case, I would suggest maybe to take a step, like to take a break and think about whether a PhD is the right choice. But if you enjoy doing research, and if you, in that case, I think it would not. In that case, I think it would not be such a burden to maybe spend a couple of years like doing research, because I think those years will fly by like really fast if you really enjoy doing that. Of course, I would just briefly say, like, of course, there are certain, I would say, advantages of doing a PhD, because afterwards, of course, in terms of jobs and opportunities, there are certain positions at which you can apply only, especially research positions in industry. Because like if you would categorize them in engineering and research positions especially require having a PhD is kind of like a normal prerequisite for these positions. So in that sense, I think like doing a PhD is worth it. Or if you want to pursue, of course, an academic career, in that case, it's a must do. But if somebody already has like a really clear idea of their career path, and they see themselves in industry, maybe at a position oriented towards maybe development or engineering, in that case, I would definitely suggest pursuing a master's degree and like starting your job search.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's obvious that gaining the PhD provides additional opportunities, specifically in the area of research and working in academia. And so it really all depends on what interests the individual. Thank you to all of the panelists. And again, we will have additional opportunity for questions after the formal program ends at 4 p.m. At this point, I would like to welcome back co-moderator Haley Stewart to take us through the next part of the program.
Thank you, Faru, and thank you all panelists for everything that you've shared with us. Truly insightful and super helpful. So Abhishek, could you please reshare the slides with everyone? And we can go on, there we go. So we're delighted that the NSDC can provide free online resources for learners and educators of all ages and backgrounds. We have the Learner Central, where you can learn more about data science fundamentals based on difficulty. So the content ranges from data science ethics all the way to programming. And then there's the educators page. So for educators in high school, college, or for library programs, we've included videos, presentations, lecture notes, and code examples from IBM, UC Berkeley, MIT, and other organizations to help you build a comprehensive data science curriculum. Then there's the volunteer video library, which is pretty new. It's for both learners and educators, and it houses videos on data science topics created by NSDC volunteers, including Columbia University master's students, who basically walk you through the content with each video and help to humanize the data science curriculum more. Go on to the next slide. We'd like to also officially announce our newest additions to the NSDC webpage. So first we have Career Central. So that's the place where we have all the job source websites related to data science and data science interview resources. So you can go on Career Central to find latest job listings, if you want to polish your resume and cover letters and practice for technical and behavioral interviews, Career Essential is to go. And we have the Volunteer Essential as well. So here you'll find more information and steps to volunteering and recording a video on your own favorite data science topic and design data science use cases, which would be a practical wing to the curriculum and enable hands-on learning for a lot of students. And finally, we have just built a structure for our NSDC chapter system. So each chapter plans to extend the mission of the NSDC in their local ways. So it's a local version of the NSDC. And they'll be creating a community of support for chapter members and students and extending it through local community development initiatives. So these initiatives will aim to educate underserved, underrepresented learners in data science fundamentals and provide them with mentorship, research, and career opportunities in data science. So we already have an existing chapter in Philadelphia. So we'd love to expand. So if you want to learn anything about any of these new additions, just go to anybigdatahub.org/NSDC. And now I would like to pass it on to our Executive Director, Florence Hudson.
Sure, thank you, Haley. And Abhishek, if you could go to the next slide, please. So we really want to give a special thanks to the Northeast Student Data Corps Outreach Team, which is one of the 3 teams that our founding committee has created, as Haley mentioned before. Farouk Garamani and Jennifer Oxenford are the team leaders, and we really want to thank Farouk for being a co-moderator today. We hope Jennifer can co-moderate the next career panel, which will be in June, and then all of the members of the outreach team. They are responsible for the data science career panels, helping identify internship and career opportunities. And as we develop the chapter system, they're actually responsible for that too. We really want to thank everybody for their support. Next slide, please. So we will be giving certificates of appreciation to our panelists. And so we really want to make it very clear that we're very grateful for your support. We're very grateful for you being role models and sharing your time, your energy, and your ideas with everybody online. We actually have received a number of questions in the Q&A. If you could be reading those, we're going to be answering those when we're done here and have the extra, I love extra credit, so extra credit Q&A session. But once again, Sanjana, Patricia, Jason, and Martin, it's really been a pleasure having you on the team. We really want to thank you. So we'll be sending these along digitally. Next slide, please. So connect with us, leverage the free NSDC resources. A number of you in the Q&A and the question and answer have been asking, where can I find resources? How can I identify what skills I need? When you go to anybigdatahub.org/NSDC, you can page down and find Learner Central, and that's where we have curated curriculum information, data ethics classes, and the online free classes are available right there. You just click through. Data ethics classes, beginning classes such as curated Khan Academy, pre-algebra work, statistics, computer programming, as Haley mentioned, supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning. We have from getting started to intermediate to advanced. And so you can come in at the level you are, but it's also fun because you can look at the advanced stuff to see what it's going to turn into eventually, which is really fun. And like Jason was saying, and Martin, see what you want to do, where's your interest area? And you can learn a lot that way. And then register. You can also sign up for NSDC newsletter on the website. Everything is available at anybigdatahub.org/NSDC. You can register for our next data science career panel on June 11th. I know a couple of people were having challenges getting into the Slack community, and I'm sorry for that. Here's a QR code. So we'll leave this up for another 30 seconds so you can take a picture of it on your phone, and that should bring you right to the Slack channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at anybigdatahub, and we've also just started a Data Corps Twitter. And you can always email us. At the bottom right here shows nsdc@anybigdatahub.org. And we have a YouTube channel that has the event from February. We had a data science career panel and other events that we do, including the COVID Information Commons and others. So now if we can go to the next slide. So now we want to go to the Q&A. And so it is the top of the hour, so we're 1 minute ahead of time. So we'd like to once again thank everyone who's participating today. Please stay connected, join the newsletter list, reach out to us, join the Slack channel. I know some of you are ready for some mentoring, so reach out to me on the website, on the Slack channel if you want. We can get you started with some mentoring. We're building up our mentoring team, so if you'd like to be a mentor, let us know as well. And so thank you very much to the panelists, the participants, our moderators, Haley and Faru, and our entire team in the background. So now we'd like to answer the additional questions that have come in, if you can stay for the extra credit session. So Faru, would you want to take us through some of the questions in there?
Sure. One of the questions that comes up is, Patricia, can you provide information about, what does a typical day look like for you?
I was just typing all that in because it's like so. So it depends on whether I basically separate my days into teaching days and research days, and then I try to give myself one day that is like like if I have service I have to do, or if I have research that I have to do, or if I have to write, which there's a lot of writing in being a professor if you're doing research and teaching. And so a typical day, if I have to teach, then I will get up and prepare my class, make sure that everything's ready. I teach the class, and then I relax because it's just so, I usually have to put office hours on my teaching days. And sometimes I try not to mix my teaching and research days, but like this semester, I have a larger class and only one TA. So then I do put some office hours on, and every day I have except for Fridays. And then again, then Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Mondays and Wednesdays are my teaching days this week. On Tuesdays and Thursdays are my research days. So I have a lot of meetings with collaborators about the research that we're doing. And then, and I do that also on Fridays, but I try to do it like half days because typically you also have like meetings with your department or committees that you're on. And most people don't teach on Fridays, so that's a good day to do that kind of stuff. And that's a typical day. Oh, and then other days I'm like planning events. Like sometimes we do workshops for students. I do a lot of events for students, so it's like workshops or hackathons. Just because I'm really passionate about trying to get women into computer science and into data science. I think data science is the best way to get women into computing. Because they love to solve problems, and they love, like, they're very multidisciplinary. Like one isn't enough. Where I see men get really deep into one, but women tend to be like, I want to be all over the place. And so data science lets you be a little bit all over the place, doing different things. You're still deep into it, but I just think that women are really, first of all, they like to collaborate, and so data science is great for that. So I do a lot of outreach for women in data science and computer science.
Oh, thank you. Broadening participation across various areas is very important. So Jason, could you also provide information about, how are ways that you're paving the way for others in your field as you're going through the work that you're doing? Is Jason there? Sorry.
It looks like he's on mute. Maybe he stepped away for a minute.
Sanja, could you provide that information, please?
Sure, Faru. Can you please repeat the question? I think Jason is back, so you might want to ask him.
Oh, Jason is back? Oh, great. Jason, what are things that you do now in your the work that you're involved in to help pave the way for others in the field?
Thank you. Sorry, I just got called away for a moment. I had to answer a question. Yes, thank you for that question, paving the way for others. So a lot of my work is about teaching and helping other people to be able to get the skills that they need. So there's a lot of ways that I try to do that. One of the things that I'm actually working on now is improving short format training. So if you take a workshop, or if you, I'm sure there's actually far too many, learn data science in a week, or whatever the modality is. there's a lot of educational materials out there for people to gain skills, and frankly, there's desperation for it. When people hope that having these skills can position them for a better job or a better future, whatever they're looking for. But unfortunately, as it turns out from a pedagogical point of view, it's actually very difficult to learn new and complex material in a short amount of time. And what often happens is that people who are themselves valid experts in data science or whatever it is that they're teaching may not actually be the best teachers. And on top of that, it may actually be that when you try to say, okay, let's have a weekend workshop or an introduction to data science or things like that, you can actually harm people in the sense that these types of workshops, if they're not done very well, you actually turn people off to data science and off to getting started with computing because they realize, oh, wow, this is really much more complex than I thought. And so you leave people in a position that's far worse as far as their curiosities and their motivation is now not what it was. So one thing that I'm doing is I'm actually doing research on those areas, and I'm actually holding a conference later on this year on how we can bring some of those practices that we know work in educational psychology, adult education, adult learning, accessible. I started a community to help with this in my area, which is life sciences. So we have a site, LifeSci Trainers, and this is a group mainly based on Slack, but it's all over the world of people who do short format training with the idea that we want to improve our teaching as a community of practice so that when we deliver introductory workshops or get people started in data science or whatever the topic is, that we ground it in something that is more than just one person's expertise, but actually pairing that expertise with the ability to teach effectively and to measure the impact and see that it's doing what you intended. So I'm trying to help people improve their teaching so that for those future data scientists or those people who are trying to make the transition into data science or just trying to gain data science skills to make some of those transitions easier. So that's my answer. It's very long, but that's my answer.
Thank you, Jason, for all that you're doing in this area. It's very important work. Sandra, could you please provide your perspectives on the skill requirements for data science, some of the foundational skill requirements?
Sure, Faru. Thank you for the question. So I think I'm going to share the mistake which I did initially when I was preparing myself for a particular job. Is I did not go wrong in finding the role that I want to do, but where I went wrong is hammering myself with all the Python algorithms, the packages out there, learning every single thing that's available online and try to upskill myself in every single modeling technique, etc., whatever is needed for a data scientist. Later on, I realized that it's absolutely not necessary to be aware of all the technical algorithms that are available out there. What the role wants you is, apart from technical expertise, which you need to a certain extent, but what you need above it all is the business understanding. How is your data science going to solve a particular business problem with whichever company you're working for? What are they using data science for? Are they trying to use it to reduce the environmental pollution, or are they using it to predict tomorrow's weather, or are they trying to predict the COVID curve for the next month or 2 months, coming months, whatever it is? Try to understand the business problem that they're trying to solve and then build your skills accordingly, so that it'll help you as well as your organization on how you go about it. In case you don't have a job currently and you don't know what to expect out of your future organization or an enterprise, try to limit yourself to particular domains. So data science is used everywhere, in every single domain. There is no domain that doesn't use data science. But try to build your expertise by limiting yourself to one domain or or an industry, I would say. So for example, I started off concentrating my energy, like building up all my energy in data science towards the field of education. What are the trends that people like to learn in artificial intelligence? What is the most happening topic, and how do we present it so that people can learn it in shorter time, etc. So suppose, see for Jason, he is an expert in biotech. For example, just try to limit yourself to an industry or a domain and try to build your expertise in a small, narrow problem rather than, being a generalist in data science because it's huge. It's an ocean. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Sanja. Martin, could you provide some insights with regard to the difference between computer science and data science?
Oh, I see. Thank you, Farrell. So computer science is kind of like a more general field. I would say computer science is more is kind of I would say, like, this is not a formal definition, but it's related to essentially, like, it's related to the science of computing, of the manners in which we compute, like, or make certain, like, computing operations. So it's I think it's an so on the other side, data science is not necessarily a subfield of computer science. I think a part of data science kind of is stemming from computer science, in the sense that computer science is still, like, related to, like, there are parts of computer science which are related to I would say, or are intersecting with probability and statistics. And in that sense, I think statistics also contributed to some parts of data science. So I would say there are certain subfields in computer science from which data science stemmed or originated. However, data science nowadays is so interdisciplinary, I would say, that we cannot attribute, like, the creation of data science only to computer science. I think it's some aspects of it, as I said, originate from computer science, but I think it's an intersection of multiple fields. So I would say it's an intersection of maybe mathematics, in particular statistics, and computer science, but it has applications in many various fields. Like, it can have applications, like, in domains such as, like, biomedicine, healthcare, up to domains such as weather forecasting, or even, like, or it can even help, like, make more informative business decisions, as Sanjana suggested. So I would say it's an intersection of multiple fields. One of them is computer science.
Yeah, thank you. And I have a question that it applies to everyone here, is what would you recommend for someone who is just in another area, has no experience in data science, in starting out in the area of data science? We talked about gaining knowledge and experience. What specific areas do you recommend? What are some specific tools or technologies that those individuals should get exposed to?
So I might have a comment. Let me keep it brief. I think because Patricia was unmuting, I don't know if you're about to answer this one too, so I don't want to step over you, but
Okay, no, it's okay.
Maybe I would just sort of say, even if you have no expertise in data science, you have expertise likely in something. So really trying to figure out where you are at, and then what's the next rung on the ladder, and not necessarily jumping to a ladder that's not really meant for you. Because you're going to need to be able to direct your curiosity towards a structure that's going to really be goal-directed, versus I'm just curious about the world. I think this is something we heard from Sanjana earlier. It could really be disastrous because it's a whole bunch of noise out there. Everything seems important. Everything seems it's the latest thing to learn. This is the hottest skill, and you won't have any way to to make sense of it. So thinking about what might be the closest area to something you're already doing. And then probably the second piece of advice would be to really now find a mentor, a colleague, a friend, a teacher who can give you advice, because it starts to become that there's just too much noise to find the signal. And so you need someone who can help you interpret and make decisions about what's important to pay attention to and what may not be important. I think that's the best advice I could give, because anything else like learn R, learn Python, I mean, maybe that might be the right answer. It could be completely wrong. So you're going to need help more than we can give you here, but find that mentor and find something that's close to something that you already do feel you know.
Thank you, Jason. And Patricia, did you have?
Yeah. Well, I honestly, back in the day when I was studying, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have like, you guys have YouTube. You guys like take advantage of that. There's a StatQuest is a really, really great. And like, we don't have courses in AI. We don't have, so a lot of my students have to actually self-learn. And the sooner you learn to teach yourself, or the sooner you find the passion that will drive you to do it. Honestly, what made me come back was just looking at videos, of what people were doing. I was interested in medicine and technology, so I do look for videos in medicine and technology. Then I was interested in basically what my father's my grandfather was a cardiologist, my dad was a doctor, so I always had this medical part with me. And one of the things that I started looking at, okay, what are they doing to analyze like vital signs? And so I started looking at that, and that became time series. And in the end, my dissertation was multivariate time series analysis of physiological and clinical data. It all started with like, my dad did something. I don't like blood. I basically like technology. So I started looking about what they were doing with technology. They were doing amazing things with CT scans, back in the day, making them 3D. That was so new. And when I started seeing that kind of stuff, it made me passionate. And then once I got that passion, then I wanted to learn how to code. And then we didn't have things to teach you how to code now. There's so many free resources. There's Data Camp. There's, like I said, StatQuest. Data Camp, if you want to go like the Python route, R route, but the more like data analyst, and StatsQuest is just to help you with the complex idea. There's Khan Academy that really they're experts that really, teach you, and they want to teach you. They're trying to democratize, statistics and computing. There's Data Carpentries, where they offer, like, you can actually look there, and they do a class for 1 week teaching you how to do GitHub, which is really important technology-wise if you're going to be a data scientist, so you know how to store your information. And so they'll teach you GitHub as well as just how to run the command line. And so there's so many resources. So it just start doing them on your free time. Spend a night at home instead of going to the movies. Spend a night geeking out on YouTube. Like, there.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you.
I'll list some of those in the comments. I'll put the ones that I like the best in the comments.
Thanks so much for raising awareness to the various technologies to learn and get more information about. At this time,
if I can
want to
just add
thank
something, is that okay?
Sure.
Thank you. And so please go to the NSDC webpage as well. Patricia, thank you for adding all that. Maybe we can add what you put into the chat, onto the NSD website, because in Learner Central, we have a whole bunch of curated curriculum. We have some Khan Academy basics, in getting started, pre-algebra and things like that. We actually have videos that one of the data science students at Columbia recorded, which presents the supervised machine learning IBM Open Data Science for All material that's on GitHub and PowerPoint. Now he makes it come to life. He presents how to do Jupyter notebooks, related to data science. So please use Learner Central. And Patricia, we love that you're going to add more material for us. Go ahead, Fleur.
Thank you, Florence. And again, we want to thank the panelists for spending additional time with us. We thank all of the participants who engaged in the discussion through Q&A, and we look forward to seeing all of you at the next career panel webinar and engaging with us in this Slack channel.
Absolutely.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Be well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Can you give me a minute to type one of to type?
Oh, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Go
Okay,
for it.
okay.
Yeah.
Learning on YouTube. I'll just put it, I'm answering, there was one like, what would you guys say is the most popular or used program? Should I put it there?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can type, just type answer.
I'll just put like Khan Academy. Well, just like learning environments, in terms of learning environments.
That's great. And while you're typing that, there's a suggestion of having hands-on sessions for Jupyter Notebooks for data science, which is a great idea because we have these data science career panels every other month. And we're thinking of having like a real use case or a teach data science or hands-on Jupyter Notebook type thing on the other months. So maybe we can get someone to teach that. That would be great.
Hold on. I said Data Camp, Khan Academy. What were the other ones I mentioned?
Data carpentries.
Oh, Data Carpentries. Yes. Data Carpentries is really good. I think those are the big ones. Data Camp, Khan Academy. Khan Academy has data science stuff. And I'll just put YouTube. Oh, oh, what was it called? I just said Stats Quest. Quest, which is like for people who want more of the math stuff. Okay, Stats Quest. Those are the big ones that I use for my students. So I'll put that there.
That is wonderful.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. We really appreciate it, and everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.
You too.
Okay, excellent. I think we're all done. So I think there's still 47 people on. Very good at extra credit. For the people who are still there, we could do like a little run through the website maybe and show them Learner Central since we didn't do a live demo. So why not? So I'll just share my screen for the 45 people who are getting extra credit on a Friday afternoon, which I'm always impressed with. So when you go to the NSDC website, anybigdatahub.org/NSDC, you can go down here to the data science resources for learners and educators. Here, if you click on Learner Central, you can see some of the material that we were talking about, which has been curated by our content and pedagogy team. You can see there are data science ethics classes, including videos. There's an edX class at the university from the University of Michigan on data science ethics. There's a link to the IBM Open Data Science for All ethics, as well as the Data Responsibly series, which is a comic book series, an intellectual comic book series that actually is available in French, Spanish, and English. You can also look at the, that's the overall data science ethics, which everybody should care about because ethics is very critical in data science. Then in the getting started area, as Patricia was talking about Khan Academy as an example, you can look here at some of the Khan Academy modules we suggest in arithmetic and pre-algebra, algebra, and introduction to data. And you can see there's some videos here as well. And analyzing categorical data, a full data science course for beginners by Free Code Camp. I think Patricia was talking about Code Camp. So there's a lot of free online material that you can use anytime, either if you're quarantined or not, if it's raining or snowing. It's snowing in New Hampshire today. And then there's an introductory to intermediate area, as well as an intermediate to advanced area. So you can come in at the level that you want to. You can look ahead to see what else you'll be learning. As an example, here's linear algebra, vectors, matrices, and in calculus, we have derivatives, applications of derivatives, regression analysis, as well as visual analytics, machine learning. And here we actually have slides from the different classes. And then we have a video series on supervised machine learning that was created by a data science student at Columbia University. And you could review any of these online. So here's supervised machine learning with this Columbia data, with Tomislav Galjanik. And he also has some Jupyter Notebook materials as well. So there's a lot that you can find, and we really encourage you to use it, share it with your friends. And then if you want to contact us at NSDC@anybigdatahub.org, we'll be looking for what people would really like to see in a live class. and maybe in some recorded classes. So there's an opportunity for you to continue to communicate with us. Let us know what you need. You can even look at computer science and programming and learn about Python and R. Look at the differences between Python and R for data analytics by DataCamp, and then go deeper into Python and R and computer tools, including the missing semester from MIT. So there's a lot of material at your fingertips, and we really hope you're able to take advantage of it. And tell us what else would be more valuable for you, because this is really for all of you, and that's why it's here. So that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, and for those who stayed. And Faru and Haley, great job. And Helen and everyone else in the background, and Macy and Abhishek. Everyone have a nice evening and a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
I'll stop the recording now, Helen.